when somebody either buys a site or they already own a site, what are some of the most common tech SEO fixes a site usually needs? I know it's, again, dependent on the site, but what are some like generally common ones that you see that people should be aware of? And there could be like 2, 3, I'm sure there's a lot, but let's stick with 2 to 3 for now, and we'll go into those. And then if we need, we can jump on more.
Okay. So first one I would always look at myself is index management. Okay. So basically looking at, doing the site search on Google for your domain, looking what Google has indexed, especially paying attention what Google has indexed at, towards the end of what it's showing you in the index, right? Because there's a few things. Obviously, it would be difficult for me to go into how to fix some of the issues that you might find there, because it's like plenty. But a few things that you should definitely pay attention to. So if you have an average sized website, let's say, I don't know, 100 blog posts, for example, right? If you look at what's Google got indexed, and you have 100 blog posts, you have additional pages like obviously homepage and about us, contact and things like this, plus category pages, or some other pages, you can estimate that, what Google should see in the index is, let's say, up to double the number of your articles. Okay, so if you look at site search and you see this a lot more, for example, then you already know that Google is indexing something that it shouldn't be indexing. And very common problem within the indexation is tags. And I don't know why, but most websites that I've worked with ever weren't doing tagging in WordPress the right way, because they were either going to granular or to general, and then when they go to granular, then they end up having tag pages that only have like 1 or 2 articles on them, and obviously that's just straight up thin content. Or if they go to general, they end up having the same tag, or tags with tag pages with the same articles in them, or tag pages that correspond with the category pages, and then what's the point having them at all? Okay, so I would definitely look at that. Another thing is when you're looking at what's Google got indexed, obviously I'm mainly mentioning the site search on Google itself, but one thing that I'm like, let's say, obsessed with, that also reveals what Google has in the index, is Google Search Console. But I'll leave it on the side, because there's a lot of help on the internet around what all of these things crawled but not indexed and stuff like that mean. So let's stick to the site search itself. So let's say, again, you have those 100 article pages, and one of those that you definitely want to rank and is very important for you, because say it's an affiliate site and you have high commission on, is showing in the site search on the 4th page. Okay, so that's a clear indication that Google has a problem with that, or most likely has a problem with that. If looking at site search, in general, Google should rank those pages that it shows you by what it thinks is the quality weight on those pages, right? So most often, in most cases, you would have your homepage as number 1, and then you would have your 2nd and 3rd and so on, most popular / authoritative pages on the site. I think it still stems from the old PageRank metric, how they rank it in the site search. So obviously, if you have your important page ranked very low when doing the site search, that's an indication that you got to work on this, right? You got to either look at the content, right? There's something wrong, maybe it's over optimized. You have to look at the navigation that points towards that page. Maybe you need to bring it higher, maybe you need to build more internal links towards that page, just to get this page rank up within the site. Or or I don't know, maybe there's something else, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of things you could look
there's a
at, but
lot.
that's an indication, right? And while we're at it, like I said, that for most healthy websites, your homepage would be ranked number one when you're doing the site search.
Correct.
And don't take it as a rule of thumb, but think about it as a warning site. If Google is not ranking your homepage number one, then it might indicate that there's some sort of devaluation going on. It might not, right? But it's something to investigate for sure. Spend a little time on. Don't not obsess with, but it might be indicating that there's something already brewing, something that you don't want already brewing in Google, around your website.
When you come to tech SEO, it seems like you've got a lot of work that can be done, and you can get focused in on one direction, and it may not actually get you spending too much time and effort on that. If you go too far deep into it, it may not actually get you the best return. So it may be best to come back to some other tech SEO fixes and be like, this is what's gonna allow us to move the needle more, and that'll be what those tasks are will be dependent on the site, right? But for the one that
Yeah.
you mentioned is, page rankings, and you're making sure that your most important pages are ranked high, and if not, how do we get them higher? What does that look like in terms of, do we need to get more, fix the traffic up, internal links, maybe even backlinks to them? What would be another big one that people should be probably looking at when they go in and they go, all right, we need to fix some things here?
I would probably look at page speed. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and don't get me wrong, I'm not obsessing about page speed, because I think a lot of these tools, they're not necessarily actually measuring the real page speed of the page. So the one that actually the actual user sees. But obviously, page speed is nothing that you want to neglect. And well, surprisingly, especially when you're on WordPress, page speed is actually a fairly easy thing to get higher, fix, implement, install plugin like WP Rocket, for example, or NitroPack, tamper with the settings, use, for example, Cloudflare, with auto minification and Rocket Loader. If you've got a lot of JavaScript, hopefully it's not going to break anything. But overall, those those plugins are there for you to use. They've got a lot of settings that you can tamper with, play around with, a lot, but not that many that an average user, an average site owner cannot actually take and play around with.
Yeah.
And I think quite often just changing a few things, you can get much better page speed. And by the way, speaking of page speed and plugins, one thing that page speed definitely and very rigorously looks at is image optimization. Okay, and WordPress, hello, there's like a bunch of plugins that you can use. They're all great. I myself use Short Pixel, on fully automated, turns your images into a WebP format, which might sometimes be a problem with the Apple users, because not all Safaris support WebP. But I've tested a few plugins, and according to my tests, Short Pixel was the best when it comes to the optimization, even if you're not using those next gen formats like WebP, and you're just doing the simple optimization JPEG to optimize JPEG. Short Pixel is always giving me the best results in terms of
Great.
the how much the file was lighter. And the best thing about all of this is, you implement it using a few plugins, and it's working side wide. So one thing you're spending, let's say, a couple of hours on this, playing around and testing and improving, but it's going to benefit your entire site. It's going to roll over all of your pages.